Welcome to Tell Your Story, presented by Leatherneck Insider. Today we're focusing on roles from player to coach. Our panelists today are David Ayala with men and women's golf, Tori McQueen with softball, and Brock Lummus with baseball. Jumping right in, you guys. If you had, real quick, right, this is the easy loft. In one sentence, how would you describe the biggest change from player to coach?
In general, for me, it was like super interesting. I was playing at WIU and then coaching at WIU without having a head coach. Lee at that point had left, so I was the only one there. And it was interesting, that dynamic of having those friends that I created from the past few years and being a coach. So I kind of just took it on the friend side and, hey, let's work together. We were here on it with a team, and we just try to do the best out of the situation.
So even your opportunity in terms of this, and obviously we'll deep dive, but you came from playing with who essentially you were coaching, jumping into a graduate assistant role with the idea of what is that, right? And then became sort of the head coach in your first season. Great, can't wait to learn more in that. Tori, what about you?
I would say it's very eye-opening how much goes on like behind the scenes. I didn't realize it gives you like a greater appreciation for like what my coaches at Illinois did, just because you don't realize how much truly like goes on.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a deeper dive question that we have coming up, so I'm interested in that. And then Brock, what about for you?
I kind of got a mixture of both of them here. Played here at Western Illinois the past 2 years under Coach Davis. I didn't realize how much actually went behind the scenes, from food to hotels to just little stuff like that you didn't know was behind the scenes of a baseball team.
Right.
Along with that, half the players I coach, I've played with, I hung out with outside of baseball. I mean, we still have that good friendship connection, but we have kind of put some ground rules down, like, hey, I'm your coach, like, let's respect that, stuff like that.
Yeah, leading into that, that's a great segue, and Tori, we'll start with you. And obviously a little bit different for Brock and David with the thought process of literally serving in that same capacity. You're coming from a different spot, but as your role, and I'm imagining you probably all three served in a captain's role. Most it's always a checkbox that, or a leadership, significant leadership box that usually when you hold that, you're transitioning over and you're going to be a coach. It almost goes hand in hand in a lot of ways. But when you have that teammate to now coach role, what was the process?
I think sometimes it can be hard just because we're such close age with the players, so you have to set like, hey, like, I'm your coach, like, yeah, we can have like a good relationship and you can come talk to me if you need something, but also you have to draw a line, like make sure they're not like crossing a line, and just, yeah.
What are, and we'll get into that, maybe I'll let you think about it, I'll move next, but if you gave example of the boundaries that you've sort of had to say, like this is helpful. I mean, as we have different people tuning into this and thinking about it and thinking about the role for themselves, we'll talk about that sort of advice, but what are the examples of kind of those boundaries? And Brock, go ahead.
Just being professional, like I practice. I don't really need to know everything you do off the field. I'm your coach, please respect that, which I kind of know as a player, as hanging out with some of the guys outside. I know what goes on, but let's keep it professional.
Right.
In general, I just think when you're at practice and when you're with the team, you just have those expectations that there's this mutual respect between each other, and that kind of helped out the whole relationship in general with my players.
Perfect segue, because that was the next question in terms of your relationships. How those change, because you are bridging the gap in most cases. Like you said, you're very aware of maybe what's going on off the field and off the playing surface, right? You're also aware of different dynamics that maybe exist in a deeper kind of way than your coaching staff, but also bridging the gap between those communications, like what needs to be known, what can handle, what can progress. How do you handle bridging the gap in terms of relationships between the coach in which you serve and then also your former teammates, now players, for some of us? And we'll start with you.
I think it kind of goes same thing what I just said, because the professionalism behind it all, because at the end of the day, it's still a business. Coach Davis, he's my boss. I've got to know him even more as a coach, like kind of outside, like more of a friend, more of that friendship relationship, but still a professional thing. Same thing with some of the guys I coach. I knew him on a friend level, good relationship there, but just kind of build that trust and professionalism with it that kind of builds the gap in between.
Yeah, absolutely. David, what do you have?
I would say, especially this year, it's just awesome having Charlton there because we both see kind of eye to eye. But some of the players, of course, are more comfortable talking to me, so I can just bridge the gap and like they talk to me and I talk to him, and then we can just kind of come to an accordance of what we can do to improve the student-athlete experience in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Tori?
I would kind of go kind of with him. If there's someone that's more comfortable maybe coming to talk to me, then I can kind of bridge that gap and talk to them, and then I can go talk to Elisa and Colin and let them know, hey, this person's struggling with this. They might not be great at practice today. They have this going on. You might want to talk to them. Or, hey, they told me this. They're not really wanting to come tell you about it, but I think it's important to know, like if their performance is off, maybe don't get on them as bad today because they're struggling with this.
Right,
type
absolutely.
Thing, so.
How do your head coaches sort of support you in that? Because it's sometimes very difficult. It's difficult, especially leaving, like if you relate to or have a firmer understanding and you kind of, and your relationship obviously with the head coach matters so much. So when you go and speak to them, how do they sort of empower you to be able to go and sort of be an asset for the program in that way? David, we'll start with you.
I just think in general, we talk ideas, and he's always open to listening to me. So the relationship just comes down to communication. It's a really open communication that we have, and each other give our points. And I mean, at the end, he gives the final say, but at the same time, I know that I'm being heard of.
Awesome, awesome.
I'm gonna say I've built a good relationship with Elisa, so I know that she can trust me, and she knows she can trust me to be able to have these conversations with some of the athletes if they would rather come talk to me about something, and she knows that I'll be honest with her and tell her what's going on. So
great.
I mean, kind of the same thing. I've played under Coach Davis the last 2 years, so we've kind of already had that coach-player relationship, and then now become a coach-coach relationship. We can talk to each other about anything. What David said, bouncing ideas off each other. I know my ideas are heard. His ideas are heard. I mean, once again, he's a head coach. You know, he gets the last say, final say. But and we have that good relationship. And then kind of what Tori said, having that different relationship with some of the players can kind of help maybe understand what maybe what Coach Merrigan or Coach Davis don't understand. And I can kind of put in the terms of what maybe they'll understand, depend on what I was told, if that kind of makes sense.
Right. Sometimes it's, I recently, when you follow with social media in any kind of ways, but just bridging the gap even, what is it right now? The communication's very Gen Z, so can you explain what he meant when he said chopped, or can you explain what he meant when, right, all these things? Like, what does that mean in terms of those things? So what a great thing. But in terms of communication, it sounds like each head coach is giving you sort of that empowerment. You've bridged that relationship, and you have a firm understanding that they're making, not only are they making the decision, but the head coach also is who bears the responsibility of living with the decision, right? So it's twofold. You get that protection, but also to be heard and have the open lines. That says a lot in terms of the relationships that you've built thus far. What assumptions did you have about coaching that sort of proved to be inaccurate once you stepped into the role, Brock?
Well, some of the other assistant coaches I've been around here saying they've had longer days. And me playing, I don't know, I had a pretty long day today, but now that I'm in that role, I'm doing all that stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, I've had some long days. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind it, behind the actual baseball aspect. Getting to practice baseball is not exactly what I do every single day. It's a very small part of my day that it's actually, I get to look forward to even more as a coach than what I was as a player.
Right, exactly. David?
I just going based off from you, like the fun part is actually like coaching them.
Right.
That's like what gets me excited. The compliance side, that's where it gets a little boring, and then you're like, why? But no, yeah, it's just that's the main thing. But it's fun. It's just fun to be a coach because you can teach this younger generation or someone that's basically the same age as you, like, hey, I would do this because I wish I would have done that. Simple as that.
Right.
Kind of what Brock said, like, you don't really realize, like, the coaches, like, you don't think about it when you're playing. The coaches are there all day long. Like, you're like, oh, I have this 3-hour practice. Well, like, coaches have been there from, like, 8 to 5.
And longer,
Yeah, so it's, like,
exactly.
longer days. And there is, like I said, like, kind of at the beginning, like, there's a lot more that goes into all of it than I ever imagined, which is kind of cool, too, because I'm getting to learn a lot of new skills, not just learning how to coach, but I'm learning how to do like some of the other stuff behind the scenes. So it's been cool.
Absolutely. So now we're going to transition a little bit into you. All three are graduate assistants, so that's another responsibility. So Tori, how are you managing the dual responsibilities of not only what you have with coaching and, you know, like you just said, there's more. There's more to it than the coaching aspect, right? There's all the preparation and behind the scene work, and then also your course and your studies, your academics.
I just make sure that I set aside like time to make sure I'm getting what I need done, like, or asking for help if I need it. And then also, Elisa's really good. Like, hey, if you have a busy week, like, you can go work on your homework if you need to like get something done. So that's also been a huge help for me, and it takes some stress off. So I know, like, if I need that, I can tell her, hey, like, I really have to get this done. Can I come in a little bit later? And she'll, of course. So that's also been very helpful.
Good, good. Brock?
I would say I'm pretty good at managing my time. So between work stuff and school, I find time to actually do some school work, even if it's in my office. Kind of what Tori said, Coach Davis is really understanding that I still go to school. If there's some time during the day where I have to maybe miss our team lift, or hey, I can't participate in a hitting group, like I gotta get this project done, he's really understanding, like, all right, yeah, go, studies are first, you know, if you need an extra time, just let me know. So he's really understanding about it.
Yeah, absolutely. David?
Yeah, it just goes back to those base skills that you learn as a student athlete: time management, discipline. You know, if you on prioritizing, if you have those three down, I feel like it just becomes really easy. You just find times in a day. For example, for me, we're in the simulator from 7 a.m. all the way up to 5:30. But between those times, there's always time for me to kind of just check on my homework and do the things I need to do. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Deeply rooted life, you know, still within sport, but what we tell our student athletes in terms of those three aspects, how it transitions. And so you're still embodying the example for your student athletes. So it's great. When you think about a typical day, a life in the day of, right, of a graduate assistant coach, Brock, what does that consist of? When did you wake up? Now look, we talked about a little bit of a routine today, so we know we had a game day routine. We know those things. Give us all. No hiding. Give us the behind the scenes.
Kind of every day for me. I'm here about 6:30 every morning. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, our guys lift, so I'm there with that. Tuesday, Thursday, when we don't lift, I still get here early. It's just kind of building that routine. I'm in a routine of getting up early. I like to get to the office early when there's really no one around. That's kind of when I get my schoolwork done, just because no distractions, it's nice and quiet. But then kind of throughout the day, whether it's something with hotels I have to get done, something with our flight information we got to get done. I actually got all that stuff done yesterday, so that's a plus. Talking on the phone with like Rawlings reps, getting new bats and gear like that. And then kind of goes into practice. I mean, we have different practice times that we kind of talked about it. Just kind of being inside with softball, it's kind of difficult. So we have hitting groups. I mean, noon and then 1:15, then straight to practice, then straight to bullpen. So it's just kind of a long day. There's some times where I'm not out of the Western Hall at 9 o'clock at night. So they can come into the long days, but I mean, there are some other shorter days.
9 o'clock, and then you turn around and start at 6:30 the next morning.
Same thing, every day.
And you have not experienced a spring travel season in the capacity of a graduate assistant yet?
Not yet, but I was kind of close with the GA last year, so I kind of understand it a little bit,
right,
especially being an older player last year, but nope, not yet, so this is going to be a whole different experience.
And are you in charge of meals and hotels and the execution of a travel itinerary?
Me and Will and Coach Merrigan, we all kind of work together on that.
Great.
I was in charge of all of our hotels, along with our flight to San Francisco week 1, so that's all done. I helped Coach Merrigan with all of our charter buses, And then Coach Christofferson, he's on food, but he doesn't really know what to do. This is his first year coaching as well. But I also kind of have an understanding, kind of being around it, so I have an idea, so I'll be helping with that as well.
Good. I say call, and you call again, and you call again.
A ton of negotiations.
Negotiations.
Let's
And
work
do not
out a deal
assume it's
here.
getting done. Don't
Yeah.
assume that people are just, that they care like you do,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
keep calling. Okay, David?
Day to day.
Yep.
I wake up early as well. It's like he says, it's one of those that you wake up early and you leave late. Thankfully, we're kind of separated, so we don't bother any of the other teams. And we're at the golf course, and it starts 7 a.m. I get there, and we kind of just base off a practice plan for everyone. Then we get into the routine of just checking up on players. So as they go by, since we have usually 3 or 4 in there at a time, we just check on them, their swings, and in general, things that you do in the off season, just getting them ready for the season, of course. And then that goes all the way up until 5:30 p.m. Basically, and then just start over the next day,
Yep.
all the way Monday through Saturday.
What about from just a check-in and stand? Like, we haven't discussed like the check-ins with academics or the check-in. Now golf, right? Normally you're blessed. It's not as much check-ins with the
You would
golf team
think.
typically. Yeah. And then also, we can talk more about travel, but Brock has hit that sort of feeling. But with academics or just from a recruiting standpoint, what are those like? And are those day to day with you?
Yeah, they're definitely day to day. I mean, you usually end up having like 100 emails a day. Just go through those, see which ones I think Charlton would be interested in, and after that, it's one of the things that you don't even think about, but you just do it every day.
Right.
Same thing like with planning, for example. He asked me to do the transportation stuff, so I just did that, knocked that off, and then it just goes quickly. It's a day-to-day thing, but you're always busy.
You brought up a good point with email maintenance.
Yeah.
So it's something you don't think about. So think about the amount of text messages and email correspondence, Teamworks in terms of the app. In a given day, how much time do you think you spend in those 3 areas hourly?
Too
Right.
much.
Too
Right.
much.
Too
It's
much.
constant.
I'm
It's
always
constant.
checking
Yeah.
email. I'm on the phone, calling
Yeah.
someone. I'm texting somebody, whether it be a recruit or someone on the team, someone I need to contact for travel stuff. Too much.
You're on
Too
call
much.
24 hours.
Yes.
It kind of gets to the point where you're in class and you're like, oh, I need to check this email.
It's constant.
Yeah.
Tori, what does a day-to-day or a week look like for you?
It just kind of depends, day to day. Usually I wake up by probably like 7-ish, give or take.
Yeah.
And then usually go to the bullpens and hitting groups and like team practice. And then in between all that stuff, I'll kind of get anything that needs done, whether I need to fill out a transaction for the credit card, get some paperwork done, if something pops up that they need me to order, stuff like that. And now that we're about to start season next week, I'll have to start calling like the different food places, get our food orders placed, make sure that's all good. We already got our itineraries all done for the whole year, like the base of them. So just kind of depends, but normally it's just go to bullpens, hitting groups. Sometimes I still throw at the hitting groups. It just kind of depends. And then usually I'm out of there by between like 5 and 6. So.
Good. And then we've all sort of discussed it, which I love, in bulk. You figured out your travel itineraries, you figured out your hotels, you figured out you've organized all those things, and it's great because then when issues arise, as they do when you're traveling a group of people, you can pivot well in terms of understanding what the next step is or how you can flip this. Suddenly the field's not available at this time, or you can't get here for this time, like in terms of a walkthrough or whatever it is that you need, and so you can pivot accordingly. So it's great that you have sort of that preparation, but there's a ton of time in the preparing before you even think to do it, before you even think of execution. Strategies, it can be exhausting. We just talked about like you're available 24/7 in so many aspects, whether that be recruiting to your head coach, the coaches on staff, and your current players. It's to be elite, you're available 24/7. That's what comes with it. So what is your sort of strategy for keeping it 100 constantly?
I'll start. Caffeine. Caffeine works, and making sure you eat. That kind of, to me, that kind of gives me like the extra boost throughout the day to do whatever I need to do. Most of the time I am pretty high motored, so I don't need a lot, but it does help some of the days. Kind of also goes back to time management. You manage your time well, and then there's just also that relief off your shoulders once you get something done. And it's like, all right, cool, I can go on to the next thing. I got that little bit of a burst of energy to keep going.
Right.
And big thing, Coach Davis talks about, like, I don't have to be here. That's a big thing. I get to be here. I get to be a GA to him. I get to be a part of this coaching staff. So that's another thing that kind of drives me through every day is I get to do this.
You don't have to, you get to.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, David?
I'm gonna go back to coffee as well. A lot of coffee. That's the number one thing I bring when I get here from back home, for sure. But coffee and just, I don't know, I've always been a high energy guy, so I never feel like I lack energy, but definitely coffee helps.
Absolutely.
I would just keep it simple, for sure.
Absolutely. What do you, Tori, what do you got?
I normally don't drink that much caffeine. If I'm really slow one day, I might have a little bit, but I don't usually have a ton. But one thing that helps me is I like to have like a checklist of what I need to get done that day, and then I'm like, ooh, I checked something off, and it just like helps because then I'm always like looking. I'm like, oh, okay, I got this many tasks done today. I got a lot done. And then also what I find easier too is usually Mondays are off day, so I usually meal prep. So then whenever I get home, I can just eat dinner and take a shower and get homework done if I need to. And then I feel like that just takes a little bit of stress off, and I don't have to cook dinner every night and all that. So just kind of back to time management, I guess, too.
Yeah. I can really relate to those things. I always joke, like, I never was a coffee drinker until I became a head coach. Just like, it wasn't my thing. And then now it's like, it's all of it. It's the ambiance of the place, you know, like you're on the road and you're looking for like, it's cute in there. I want the latte. That's who I am. You guys might be straight out of the pie. I don't know. Real coffee, right? And then I'm a list maker with all the things because it's just results and production. It's one of those things that keeps you going. And I think remaining grateful and having humility in this profession is huge because we have such extreme highs and extreme lows, and the highs almost never match the lows because when you win, that's the expectation, and now you're looking for the next win and chasing the next win. That sometimes you need that reality check of, I get to do this, I get to serve in this capacity. So just keeping it in perspective. And so as we move to that, from a leadership standpoint, how has your perspective on athletes changed now that you're coaching instead of competing? It's a good question.
It's a great question.
Yes. David, do you want to go on this one?
Yeah, for sure, I'll go ahead. I mean, golf being just kind of like individual sport, I always knew that my individual performance was going to help the team the most. Now becoming coach is just literally checking on each and every one of them. Hey, how is your mental part? How's your physical side? So just checking on them just in general is really important. So it's more of the coach's part in general to bring the team together, bring the culture together. Whereas when I was a player, yes, I was a leader, but I was a leader by example. So it's a huge change in that sense. But yeah, you try to make them have a great experience, grow as persons, but at the same time, of course, perform. And that just comes from you checking in on them every single day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think that a lot of them have some of the same things that like I kind of went through, so I've been able to kind of help them through some of it, like especially the pitchers. Since I pitched, I can be like, oh, that same thing actually happened to me. This is how I got through that whenever, so I can kind of mentor them in that aspect, which I think is really cool because then once it finally clicks, I don't think there's anything like more fun. Like competing obviously is so fun, but it's really, really fun and cool to see like something click and them succeed.
It is. You want to almost be like, I did that, we did that, right? Like as it's happening. Or when they give you that look, like it happens and then you just get the eyeballs. It's a different sort of like, your whole heart is on display when that happens. And I would agree, it's the closest thing to competing is probably that feeling when you get to see someone execute. You pass the torch essentially, which was what makes sports so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing. I work with catchers and some of the hitters. They come to me, hey, let's just a little bit of advice. Hey, try this. This is something that worked for me, like when I was hitting, or if I was in a slump, this is what worked for me. And then seeing somebody like the next day do it on their own, it's kind of it feels good, like they're actually listening to me, and it's working. Like next day they're hitting better. Something kind of what you said, Tori. Something clicked. It's just kind of like that relief, like yeah, I did that. I helped out. And then going along with baseball, I mean, kind of checking in with all the guys. I mean, kind of did that as a leader, but I didn't. It wasn't as big on my plate, I should say. Now being a coach, I mean, these are my players. Individualized team sport. Everyone's got to do their job. But how's everyone doing? Hey, how's your body feeling? You feeling good today? Mentally, you good? Stuff like that. Just checking in every single day.
Let's stick with that. So you've touched sort of on leadership, everybody, and in terms of those things you've been looking at it. So what are maybe some leadership lessons now that you're learning in this role that you maybe didn't understand as deeply as an athlete, or things that maybe were being taught to you then that it wasn't sinking in the same capacity that now, and across the boards, right? Now it's hitting you in a completely different way, or just giving you some ideas, right, and some time to think. The other aspect, sort of, what are things that you know that from a leadership perspective you learned or needed as a student athlete that you're able to sort of give them now, right? So it's almost like, man, if I had that at 18 or 19, that sort of direction.
Maybe a little bit more of like the little one-on-one, little player coach. I know, like, I'm just as old, if not just a year or two older than some of these guys, or even going down to like our freshmen. I mean, I'm still 5 or 6 years older than him, but we still kind of click, just have that one-on-one connection together so we can talk about something, I mean, maybe a little more personal, or maybe I can explain it a little better or with more understanding of what Coach Davis explained it. So maybe he kind of gets it a little better, if that kind of makes any sort of sense.
Right. I mean, that age gap that we're talking about, this is very much like little brothers, little cousin, little sister. And maybe you're able to do it with a little bit more flair, or a little, like we just talked about in terms of common language, or at least relatable language. You've also served in that capacity and at a high level. Sometimes that allows for, they don't realize that their head coach did it and did it well. You know what I mean? That they know that you just did it. So there's a little bit deeper understanding there, but that matters because you're coming off in that capacity, like the big brother, big sister, until you're my age, and then you're like the mother, right? But I say cool aunt, but you've got that opportunity. So Tori, what about for you?
I think that my answer is a little bit different, but one thing that I wish I would have learned sooner that I've tried to kind of pass down to them is that it's really not that deep. It's supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to freak out over your sport. It's like you've been doing it since you were little. Like you chose to play softball, for example. You chose to play that because it's fun for you. I wish I would have learned that a little bit sooner in my career. So I'm trying to I try to push that for them. Like, hey guys, this is supposed to be fun. Supposed to be having fun in your sport. So that's one thing that I kind of try to pass that.
Right. Sometimes that lesson is hard and challenging is fun, because when you accomplish that, it's what leads to that sort of confidence, or it leads you, like you're hungry for more and you compete. The bar moves, the standard moves. And that lesson is a little bit different too, as you have different age groups, different abilities, different people that are in their trajectory of who they're becoming, right? They're in a constant state of becoming. So sometimes you have to really teach that this is the fun part. Like, this progression is fun while enjoying competing, because we all signed up to win. So this is how you win. It's part of the process. So
I'm gonna tie it back to both of you, actually, because those are actually great things that they brought up. Number one, just being there with them. I feel like the showing up part is huge in student athletes. If you show up and you're there and you're like caring about them, they're gonna know that, and they're gonna perform better just because of that. As simple as that. And also on the other side as well, you need to find that balance of, okay, we're here to win, and we all are here working hard to win, but don't forget this is just a sport. Don't forget we're trying to have fun out here. Let's just not, because we have a bad performance, we're just gonna demoralize and just have a bad time all the way back on the trip. No, we're just gonna learn from this experience and move on. As simple as that. So just finding the balance, but mainly the main idea of me is always being there for them. whatever it is they need help with, mental, physical. I've learned all these skills not just to shut up and just not say anything. I'm here to support you in every way.
Absolutely. There's a great slogan, and it's been used a lot. I think Izzo, Michigan State is having a heck of a season, but he's been able to utilize it in terms of they'll never know how much, or they'll never care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's something quick and easy, but it's so applicable from that standpoint in terms of leadership and being relied upon, and your consistency to be a foundation that they can continue to seek. It matters. So we are wrapping up our first couple of questions right now, and we'll be moving to a break and be back soon.
Hey, you'll find your school.
I just want to find a place where I can be myself. I want to try new things. I want to find my people. I want to make a difference. I want to have a place to grow, to make mistakes, to learn new things. And I want to do college on my own terms.
Grit. It's that thing inside of you that ignites passion and empowers you to envision a world full of possibility. At Western Illinois University, leathernecks are made with this grit. It starts here, in this field, in this room, on this court, and in this lab. We refuse to blend in because our purple stands out.
Our story began with a spark that started on the prairies of Western Illinois. From a bell tower which stood as a new beacon of knowledge for all to see, to the cranes that swing over campus today, advancing our vision to inspire, educate, and lead. That spark ignited a legacy of students using their talents and perseverance to make the world a better place in ways big and small. In this 125th year, we celebrate the remarkable journey of Western Illinois University, a milestone marked by dedication, boundless ambition, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. We have pushed the envelope far beyond what our founders could have imagined. We have broken new ground, set records, and made discoveries. Whatever challenges we have faced over the years, we grow stronger from them and evolve. We remain devoted to our fighting leatherneck spirit, the spirit of the underdog that fuels creativity, generosity, and determination. Leathernecks can be found in communities across the state, the country, and the world, doing their part to be a positive force wherever they go. Today, in Macomb and the Quad Cities, students from all walks of life meet to share ideas and aspirations. Our students bring new perspectives and aim to be part of something bigger than themselves. The Leatherneck legacy lives inside these walls and in all of us. Together, we are marching on.
Welcome back to Tell Your Story, Leatherneck Insider. Today we're talking about the journey from player to coach. Again, with our panelists here, Brock Lummus with baseball, Tori McQueen with softball, and David Ayala with men and women's golf. And jumping right back into it, when we talk about your career choice, and first let's discuss what is your background in terms of your undergrad. What were you pursuing in terms of your major? What do you have your degree in?
So my degree is finance. Right now I'm pursuing quantitative economics.
Ooh.
I've always been good with data. I think that's one of the things that fascinates me about golf is that you can connect it with data too,
Yes.
because there's probabilities for everything.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, I kind of liked finance just because of, my goal was always to be a financial advisor. So it just ties down to that. I always want to help people out. And it kind of comes back to coaching too.
Right.
I've always been good at like helping people out, and I feel like I'm good at serving. So, yeah, that's kind of what led me to that.
Good. Tori, what's your background in your undergrad and currently pursuing?
I got my undergrad in kinesiology, and then I'm also getting my master's in kinesiology. It kind of ties back to sports just because how the body moves. It can kind of tie back to it, and I've learned a lot more that can like possibly help like pitchers, like learning how some of like the different like muscular systems and all of that work. So that's been kind of cool and been helpful because like I can be like, oh, you need to do this or you need to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brock?
Mine's a little different. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just kind of chose business management just because, I mean, it's pretty broad. You kind of learn a little bit about everything. And towards the end of my last year plan, I kind of realized I wasn't going to play professionally. I wasn't going to continue, but I wasn't done with the game. So me and Coach Davis kind of sat down and had that conversation like, hey, I want to coach baseball. I want to learn under you. And so that kind of led me to kind of become the GA on the team to get my master's into sports management, which to kind of help everything that I've already learned, but to kind of put in the sports terms, kind of everything I'm learning under Coach Davis behind the scenes of baseball. So that's just kind of what led me here.
Great. And so Brock, touching on that, but also coming full circle, obviously with those backgrounds in terms of degrees, you could go multiple different avenues, right? But yet you still chose to come back in coaching. And Brock, you say, well, I wasn't done with it. I wasn't done with the game. I wasn't ready to put it down yet. So for you, David, what led to you saying, you know what, I'm staying within coaching instead of going a different route?
I just think that, for example, at that point it was Leah. She needed someone. I feel like we could connect and do a great team. One of my goals have always been to see us be champions. Unfortunately, that ended up when I stopped playing. So I was like, okay, maybe I have an opportunity as a coach as well to kind of get that feeling and just show what these guys deserve just by being there and kind of supporting them. So yeah.
While also continuing your education.
Correct.
So right,
yeah.
It was a win-win.
It was a win-win for sure.
Absolutely. Tori?
Kind of like Brock, I wasn't really ready to be completely away from softball. Obviously, it's really hard like to end something that you did your entire life, but staying around it has really helped that transition for me at least. It's made it a lot easier, and it's still fun because I still throw BP and help the girls out, so then I'm still getting to help people, which I love to do.
Reps.
So
yeah.
I still get to help people, and I still get to I still get my little fix of it by being around it.
Have you had any of you that like breakdown of like when you're trying to tell them and they're not doing it and you're like, just watch me, right? Like you like just do it like I do.
I have done it.
No, yeah.
I have done
yes,
it.
Exactly.
Give an example.
I grew up in a household like that, right? Like I don't understand. Like just do what I do, right? Like that was my dad and uncles were very much of that sort of like hard knocks teaching. So anyway, there's always this one like that mental day where you're just like, you know what? Just watch. What did you do?
It was just kind of, receiving off the machine with catchers. Every once in a while, I still like to do it, see if I still got it.
Yeah.
So I've done that. I mean, I throw BP too, so my arm's still somewhat in shape. And then every once in a while, some of the guys think I still can't hit, so I gotta get in the cage every once in a while, show them up a little bit. But
listen to what I say.
Exactly. I might know a thing or two.
I like it. Do you? No trick shots, like showing off, nothing.
The type of thing I do is just in order for them to know that, hey, I had some success. Don't think I did.
Yes.
I just still go and play with them and beat them. I'm like, you know what? I haven't practiced in 3 months and I still can beat you. And you've been practicing every day.
Sometimes. There's a nice little regulation there,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yes. And for yourself, you get to walk off that day, right?
You have that walk over here,
Yes, carry you through the next month, right?
Some of that,
caffeine and that.
I was like, some of that kind of goes back to I really like to compete. That was a big thing of like playing. So like even after coaching, we still get to kind of compete.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's a different way, but
Yes.
we get to compete. So that's another thing I love about this.
Right, that's that big brother energy we just talked about, right?
Yeah.
So for sure. How has the graduate assistant position sort of set you up just with great intention in terms of what your long-term goals, and I get it. You're like, well, wait a minute, I needed some more time to figure out what my long-term goals were, or maybe not. You know what you're aspiring for, which I love. I love hearing that. I guess, so, sorry that I went off subject there for a second, but in terms of the graduate assistant, what can you do in terms of setting it up for your long-term goals, David?
Just the skills you acquire. I think it's great that you get to do all this planning in general for the teams. So just get those skills that you're still using in this job as well as coaching. I mean, you're still trying to handle a team, so that's leadership right away.
Right.
And just incorporate them in what's coming for you, you know?
Right.
In general, it's, you get these 2 years and you're like, okay, now I gotta buckle up, because
Right.
even though graduate assistantship is a job, it's a total different world as soon as you start doing what you want to do with life. So in general, having clear goals has been super helpful for me into what I want to do, but it also goes back to, okay, I love coaching too. So it's a yin and yang, I will say,
Right.
a little bit, because of course you don't want to leave the sport that you've been doing for 20 years.
Right,
But
right.
just having clear goals and what you got to do, it's really
Absolutely.
important for
Good.
sure.
I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do,
Right.
but I'm running out of time.
But you're acquiring all the skills, like
Yeah,
David
but,
says, all the skills.
I know for sure that whatever I do choose to do, that I have plenty of skills that I've been able to learn
Right.
through these couple years. Like I've had to talk on the phone to people, calling the food orders, like dealing with people, just all the behind the scenes work, even like some like director of ops stuff, doing some of the different scheduling and all of that. So I learned plenty of skills that will help me.
Absolutely.
with whatever I do.
Transferable skills.
Yeah.
That's right, exactly.
I mean, what both of them kind of say, I mean, learning different skills, different stuff from behind the scenes. But also, me and Coach Davis were actually talking about this on Tuesday. It's this GA stuff. It's a job, but it's also kind of like your internship. You're learning underneath people who have done it for years and years and years. Learn all their skills to help you excel later down the road.
Great, great. What advice would you give to current student athletes, or shameless plug, the academic administration positions that Western currently has open for the graduate assistant position? What would you advise them in terms of if they're considering it, or if they're pursuing the role and they're in the role, what advice would you have for them?
If you are pursuing it, like if you want to be a baseball coach, softball coach, golf coach, football coach, do it. It's a great almost stepping stone to start your career off. You get to learn everything from top to bottom, everything what it needs to run and be part of a program, whether it doesn't matter what sport it is. It's just experience, kind of what I said, it's an internship. Gain that experience to help you, help your career down the road.
Absolutely, absolutely, David.
In general, I just think that my biggest recommendation is like know what you're stepping into and be ready to take those responsibilities and chin up and be ready to go. You know, it's not one of those things that, yeah, just because it's a graduate assistantship, it's easy, but it's very rewarding, as simple as that. So yeah, like he said, if you want to step into being a coach, it's a great stepping stone. If you just want to get your master's degree and still be at your sport, is also a great opportunity. It's a win-win.
Right.
So there's a lot of great things about it. I think I've enjoyed my time here in general. Just having great support, not just the coaches, just administration as well. They have been incredibly supportive of the situations in general. So yeah, I think it's just knowing where you're stepping into. That's all.
Absolutely. Work.
Yeah.
Work. Tori?
I would agree. Kind of know like what you're getting into, but kind of like he said, it's very rewarding. I've very much enjoyed my time here, which I might be biased, but my coaches are great, so so that's also been very helpful.
Good. So when you think about sort of the skills you developed, and we kind of touched on this from like a discipline standpoint or time management, but the skills you acquired in your undergrad or just serving as a student athlete, which one or couple, depending, do you think translated most directly to your coaching role?
Public speaking. Being able, to me that's a big one. I was always the person, I'm not big on talking around the class, like, you know, presenting and stuff like that, but since I've started this role, I've gotten better. I've been able to, you have to talk to people on the phone 24/7, whether it be with hotels, food, different recruits. I've actually gotten better at talking.
Right.
Being able to talk to people, extend a conversation, just different stuff like that.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Do you remember like the first time that you had to like order a pizza or something? Like your parents made you do the first call?
Oh, it was horrible.
I know. But when you translated to this role, I remember a young coach and being like the one that had to do it in bulk, and you're ordering 20 to 40 meals, or even if they're simple and it's in bulk, it's still a lot, and then you're constantly concerned. We can't miss a meal. Someone's not going to get fed, or you're concerned there's going to be a mistake, or it's not going to be ready, and those things do happen. That's why I was saying call 20 times. But it is that same sort of like feeling. So it's a great example because you suddenly, that it ends. You no longer have that sort of feeling anymore.
The more you do it, the
done.
easier it gets.
Get them on the phone, figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. What about you, David?
Same. I feel like public speaking has been a huge tool. In general, for example, trying to have that expectation they have between coach and player,
Right.
And just setting ground rules, or even like just communicating, hey, this is how practice is gonna go. I don't want you doing this and that, and there's a reason behind it.
Right.
So just communication. That's the main thing that I'll grab and help me out for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
Just public speaking, giving a speech before a tournament. Hey, we're gonna do this. Let's go and rock it. So yeah, I think communication, and then another one I would put out there is just time management. As a student athlete, you do have to have time management. I'm not saying you don't, but you have a lot of help.
Right.
Reese is great, and we have other helpful people like Jeremy Robinette. But in general, after you end your period as a student athlete, they're never there like, hey, how are you doing? That's on you. That's
Right.
on you. So that's responsibility right there for you.
Absolutely. I think it's significant too, if your end game, as you still aspire for career goals, is to be a financial advisor, you can know all the data and be awesome with data and have it all, but if you cannot communicate that to potential clients, well then you're not really advising anyone, right? You'll just be financial.
Correct.
You won't have that other aspect. So I think that's significant when you're thinking about these transferable skills to whatever it is going to be as you're becoming, because we're all in that sort of process, how it relates. And I think athletics does it in a great job. The other thing you kind of spoke on, obviously, Jeremy's been a major asset, and Reese in terms of our academic success, major assets. But the other unique thing in terms of Western is the opportunity to work with other graduate assistants that are serving in all support positions. And so I don't know if that makes it easier for you in terms of approachable, because a year ago or 2 years ago, they were in the same sort of capacity as you, but then also sort of their hands-on experience. Another shameless plug, that those positions are available right now as we look into next season. But that process is helpful as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. As soon as you try to communicate, sometimes Reese is handling, all the
Right.
athletes.
Right, yes.
So it's so much easier just to go to one of his GAs, and they're always like, they're the same age as me, so we're going to have a clear and easy communication
Right.
as well. So yeah, it's awesome that way.
Great. Tori?
I think that time management is probably the biggest one, because I think regardless of what you're doing, you have to be able to manage your time, or else you're probably going to be stressed. And then I think too, being able to communicate, because like Brock said, I was not a person that would talk in class ever. I could talk outside of it all day, but I get like uncomfortable, so I've had to learn how to talk on the phone a little bit more.
Yeah.
And like ordering food, all of that, kind of dealing with people. So I think those two things really.
And look at the three of you. Today we're on the panel, you're discussing, we're talking, no problem, making it look easy, setting the bar. As we sort of finish today, the last question to think about is, if you go back in time and sort of give yourself, it could be young self, it could be athlete self, last year self, right? One piece of advice about preparing for a coaching career, what would it be?
Oof,
I know, it was a heavy last question, and I was like, I'm gonna have to give them a time. I'm not gonna give anyone the assignment of answering this. But if you can reflect on that.
I think to me, it kind of goes back to the I get to do this, I don't have to do this. I'm beyond blessed to be in this situation, and don't take it for granted. Learn every single little thing I can to help progress into my career as I start my career as a coach. Learn every little thing. Stay after hours, talk with Coach Davis, talk with Coach Merrigan, talk ball, learn a little bit of everything, pick their brain through people who have done it for so long, who have done it for as long, and how successful like Coach Merrigan and Coach Davis have been. Learn from every little thing to use that as a stepping stone further into my career.
Absolutely. Tori?
I think going, oh gosh.
I can pop to David,
Yeah,
give you a second.
yeah,
I
give
know,
me
I
a
heard you
second.
want to get that together.
Yeah,
David,
give
what
me
do
a
you got?
second.
For me in general, as a young self, I'll tell myself, put yourself out there. Not just take advantage of just your coach. Be able to like talk to anyone that you need to talk to learn more. Be obsessed with the process of learning. I think sometimes we just take things for granted. Tying back to you, I'm grateful that I get to do this every single day.
Right.
I'm grateful that this team has supported me, and I support them every single day. So it just becomes much easier when it kind of just becomes a family in
Right.
that sense. So yeah, just that, being disciplined, that's what I would tell myself. But after the first 2 weeks, you need to be disciplined, so you just learn it on the way as well. So yeah.
Good. Tori?
I think just remembering like you were in their shoes once, like whenever you're doing something, like how would you feel? I think that Coach Goller does a really, really good job of caring about the athletes, and that's one thing that I have definitely taken from her. She's amazing, so I think just remember like you were in their shoes once, so how did you deal with some things that happen, like maybe if they're not dealing with something the way you think they should, like how did you deal with that at that age? Like,
Right.
'cause you mature a lot in your 4 years.
Absolutely.
And you change a lot. So I think just think of that whenever you're trying to mentor these athletes.
You've spoke a lot on gratitude and sort of staying humble and focused, right, as you're leading these student athletes. We can take this opportunity, and this will be the last one. I know I fake it, right? That's who I am. But in terms of who would you want to thank that's got you to this point in your journey, and try to as many of them as possible, right? I know it's hard to put you on the spot, but I think it's always important to give ourselves some time to give those people that have got you to this point the shout out, right? Because sometimes that's the thank you, right? And you'll have that too. It'll come full circle. A lot of times mine come 10 years after graduation. I get like a random text, says, Coach, I'm thinking of you. Remember this time, right? And those things matter because that's what gets you through the monotony of a day sometimes. When it's a hard day, those text messages almost every time show up, right? So full circle moments. Who would you think, Brock?
First off, I would thank Coach Davis and Coach Merrigan. Coach Davis was the one who kind of pushed me towards this position because he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. He thought I could be a good coach, and he reminds me about every other week that I'm doing a great job. He knows what I'm capable of, and so big thanks to him. And same thing with Coach Merrigan. I know he's a first-year coach, at least here as well, but I mean he has a ton of experience. He's kind of taken me under his wing, especially in kind of the recruiting process, on how it all should work. So I mean, huge thanks to him. And then it kind of goes back to my parents as well. Some of my biggest supporters, especially my mom. When I told them, I was like, I'm done with baseball. I'm gonna start coaching. They were nothing but proud of me. Continue to push. I mean, you can't play now. Keep working up. Be the best coach you can be. How high up can you go? I mean, there's so many other people too as well. I have old JUCO coaches that still reach out. Hey, I heard you were coaching now. That's awesome, man. Keep going. Stuff like that. So.
And what an asset, right? Coming from JUCO, you have now that recruiting pool, right? Every team you played against, plus your former team, and so that's always
I've been calling old coaches and even people I've played with.
Right.
Who are now coaching at the JUCO level about different kids and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to build that network,
Yep, it's great. Competitive advantage. David?
First shout out, it will be my parents. I feel like I've not gotten to have all this knowledge about the sport if it wasn't because of them. Also my sister as well. She's the one that pushed me to be better because it was always a fight of who would
Sibling
beat each
rivalry,
other.
there you go,
She,
yep.
she beat me on that one. She went professional, but we're gonna go past that. Also, here in general, I've got to say thank you to all the coaches actually, because my first year, like I said, I was alone, and both of your coaches helped me out, and they were great, and like it was not a question that was not answered from all the coaching stuff.
Great.
I also gotta thank Chuck for coming in as well. It made my life a lot easier. I gotta thank Ian Nelson. He helped me out a lot last year, and just the teams in general. Both teams, they've always supported me, so I gotta thank them as well.
Great. And Tori, wrapping it up.
Obviously, first my parents. It wasn't cheap to travel me all over the entire country for all those years of travel softball, and they barely ever missed a game on my 4 years at Illinois. So, obviously, big thank you to them, and then all of my coaches throughout the years that have shaped me into the person I am today, especially my coaches at Illinois, and then Elisa and Colin for giving me this opportunity and being nothing but supportive of me, and they tell me that I'm doing a good job all the time and that they appreciate me, so that's also very helpful, and I really appreciate them.
Great. Awesome. Well, so thank you. And big thank you to Leatherneck Insider for affording us the ability to have a panel discussion and tell our stories. We would look forward to welcoming you back on February 13th.